Hello there, my name is Michael Maynard and welcome back to Gorilla Picking. Now, the lock that you see in a whole lot of pieces in front of you there is a thing called an ES, which stands for Eurospec MP10, which means that it's got 10 pins, high security lock out of the UK. This is actually made by a firm by the name of Carlisle Brass. I'll show you their website in a minute. In the UK. I just want to give a bit of a shout out to the guy that sent this lock to me. This is one of the ones from Randy Perkins. For you guys that haven't dealt with Randy, he is a hell of a nice guy. He's a really nice bloke and very generous with his locks, very well connected. And what Randy does is gets locks in from all over the place, from guys within the lock sport community all over the world. Picks them, has some fun with them, and then moves them on. So he kind of circulates locks all over the world. And he sent me this one in a package of a whole lot of others. So thanks, Randy, and please go and have a look at Randy's channel. Now, what I want to do with this is a two-part video because I think it warrants that. We're not going to pick it today, okay? So I think it's going to be a relatively easy pick, but I'll save that for another day. What I do want to do is talk to you about this lock's main feature, which is a thing called passive key control. Now, it's a bit of a difficult concept for some folks. I don't know why, because it's a very, very simple system, but a lot of guys get hung up on this, okay? So if you look at this lock, you will see that it has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 standard pins, which correspond to the cuts on the key there. Right, well and good. But as well as that, you'll also see that there are two little dimples on each side of the key here in two slightly different positions. And they activate two different pins on each side of the lock, which are, if I just zoom in a little on the top here, these little things here, little wee tiny pins. Now, they are passive pins. What does that mean? Well, what that means is that in the body of the lock itself, there are no elements driving these things. Excuse me. So you look in here, you see the standard 6 chambers as you'd expect, which, while I think of it actually, on this particular lock have got little grub screws on the top. So a very locksmith friendly lock, this one. But to go back to here, you'll see that we've got those chambers on the bottom there, but on the sides here, where there should be maybe some more holes for some springs and pins and whatever on those other little key control pins, there's nothing at all except just a little wee tiny groove. Now, it is kind of hard to see. It's quite difficult to pick up here, but you'll see that there's a groove that goes up here and here, only a fraction of a millimetre deep. Now, what is that for? What on earth is the point in that? Well, the point in that is that if you have got a key with the dimples in the right positions and you have got a lock with the little pins in the right positions here, then when you put this key in this lock, the little pins are going to drop down into those little divots there, those little holes, just by sheer force of gravity. So there's nothing actually, there's no active spring pressure there, just gravity and the act of rotating the plug a little bit is going to push those little pins in. Now, if you don't have a pin in the right place, then what's going to happen here is that when you put your key in and pins and dimples do not match up, one of those little pins is just going to stay very slightly proud of the surface of this plug. It is going to catch on one of those grooves in there, and of course you're not going to be able to turn that key. And just to show you guys, I'm going to put a couple of pins in here, one in the correct place and one in the wrong place. If I just load those up, you will see that just and no more one of those pokes up over the top of its little hole there. It is a tiny amount, it really is, but it is enough to stop this key from rotating. So what do we do with them when we pick them? We do absolutely nothing at all, and that is one of the secrets to passive pins, guys. They're there, they have a job to do, and we're going to talk about that job in a minute, because, you know, why the hell else would they be there? You know, they've got to do something. But they actually don't impact on us picking this lock at all. So despite the fact that it has got ostensibly 10 pins, only 6 of those are going to come into play. And if I just zoom in again on the pinning on this thing, you will hopefully see there that in fact we've got every single chamber is mastered, so we've got wafers in every single chamber, and as well as that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the pins here are standard. There is only one spool, one security pin in this whole lock, which is why I think it's going to be a fairly easy pick. Alright, so if those little pins are not making it harder to pick the lock, what the hell are they doing? Well, they have got a couple of really good functions, but it boils down to a little bit of extra security for whoever it was that bought this system, and it also boils down to money. Now, you have a think about this, gents. There are 5 positions on each side of the core, and each one of those positions can either have a pin or not have a pin. It is a binary thing, so it's not like the pins that we pick at the top that have got 10 different positions each, okay? It is either a straight out present or not present, on or off. So I'm going to grab a bit of paper and we are just going to do a wee bit of mathematics here. Okay boys, have a look at this. We have got 5 positions on each side. We can either have a pin in one or not. So 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1 and 4, and finally 4 and 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different possible combinations on these little passive pins on each side. And remember, we got 2 sides to this lock, okay? So we have got 10 times 10, 100 different possible combinations of keys for this key when it even has the same bitting across the top here. You think about that, guys. What that means is Eurospec, the people who make this thing, okay, they can sell this exact key system with the same bitting 100 different times to 100 different people without changing anything except the position of those 2 little grind outs on the key blanks. Now, what does that mean in the real world? Well, first of all, it means huge profits for these guys. And hey, I don't begrudge them that. It's a bloody good system. They might as well make some money from it, okay? What does it also mean? If you are the guy that owns this system, you have to go back to the locksmith that supplied you with these blanks. Now, generally how this works is that each locksmith in a given area is given a different combination of these 2 little holes on his blanks. So if my locksmith is Fred Smith Limited, I might have my little holes in positions 2 and 4, 1 and 3, which happens to be what this one has. And I'm the only guy that's got those. The locksmith down the road, he sells the same system, but it's got 2 different hole places, right? And what that in turn means is that if you're the owner of the system, or if you're some guy who's trying to get a key copied, you can't go anywhere else, okay? You have got to go back to Fred Smith Limited. So Fred Smith makes some extra profit by selling one of his special key blanks, because he's the only one that's got the little dots. And as well as that, the guy who owns this thing has got the extra added security of knowing that any Tom, Dick or Harry cannot go and get this copied. So look, it's a wonderful system, gents. It's a really good system, and it does add up to extra security and extra profits for the people who count. Now, the one thing that I don't reckon it adds up to is much picking resistance, and that is what the second video in the series is going to be, guys. I'm going to talk about the other features of this lock, the pick resistance or lack of it, and then we're going to pick it. So, back in a second.